ngā wāhi.
Even though he's pakeha, I believe he captures the essence of Māori.
We're a very New Zealand team, and I think Shane's very New Zealand in who he is and what sort of work he produces.
Kei te puta a Shane hei kaimahi toi, me ana mahi ki te raima, me ētahi atu momo āhuatanga. He taki ana mahi kia whakaputa whakaaro ai te iwi e pā ana ki ngā kōrero hitori mō Aotearoa.
There's a big fat peg through that headu. What the heck is that?
I think some of my art can be seen to be very controversial, but where I'm coming from as an artist, I am coming from the place where it's history, it's dealing with our history, it's dealing with our past. And our past is controversial, there's no two ways about it. But it's also funny how everyone sees something different in what you're putting across. And I think if I didn't do that as an artist, then I'm not doing my job.
Kua roa a Shane e mahi ana I te ao hoko-hoko. Ko te tuhituhi haina, te mahi raima hei mahi ngā momo papa, ana mahi tīmatanga. I te wharanga o tana tuarā, karapua e Shane he mahi kē atu kia whai oranga ai tōna whānau.
That was when I realised I was really going to have to think about doing something else.
Poor guy, I mean, we pretty much drugged him up. That's how he was for quite a few years. So it was a bit stressful at that time, thinking about, OK, well, we've still got 3 kids, a family of 5, so, you know, what do we do to subsidise those, you know, that now missing wage, so...
I think that was, going from floors to creating art was it was always going to be a bit of a natural progression. But the more floors I did, the more I sort of thought to myself, man, I need to be using this in some sort of other medium.
Hei whakakipakipa anō I a Shane, ka tīmata a Donna ki te mahi toi.
It was a bit of a funny story, wasn't it? I had thrown around the idea of doing my art using this medium. And I think I'd probably talked about it too much, and you got a little bit sick of...
Just a little bit hoha.
a little bit sick of hearing me talk about it.
Yeah. I just wanted to try and get him inspired somehow. So, yeah, I just ended up going to the warehouse. I grabbed me 3 boards off just the canvases. I don't even know what paint I'm buying, but just like the colours, yeah, and put it all together, and I painted the wall black and stuck my art up there, and, yeah. Shane walks in, gets a bit of a shock.
Yes, no, it was... and don't get me wrong, they were nice pieces. But, yeah, that soon inspired me to get cranking, which I did, and I think probably about a week later, I
Replaced the art.
had a piece done, and Donna came home and her pieces were down and mine was up.
But that's all right. That was actually the whole point, so...
Yeah, so your cunning plan worked, yeah.
Yeah.
He kaha hoki a Donna ki te whakakipakipa me te whakaawe ake.
Without a doubt, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if I wasn't married to Donna. I wouldn't have the inspiration, I don't think, to do what I'm actually doing, and I wouldn't be doing it. So it's because of that and finding out about Donna's, where she's from and what it's all about.
I tupu ake aia dona I tūranga, no manu tuke tōna pāpā, a I tupu ai tōna māma I te karaka.
Although I wasn't in a, I wouldn't call it a hugely Māori-focused environment, but, you know, mum and dad both being Māori, it's autonomous with how you're raised. So as soon as we started having kids, Shane saw this different side of me coming out where I passed on what I had learnt to the kids. And I guess seeing all of that, I suppose we got quite a bit of a taste of things Māori.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. That's the good thing about Donna being Māori, me being Pakeha. You know, you learn to give and take on both things, and you learn interesting things on both sides. And I think that's also been good for the kids. I'd like to think our kids have got the best of both worlds, really.
Yeah, it's just adding dimension to their lives, and I think with the whole art pathway that Shane has taken, that's another dimension altogether, you know.
Nā te tupu I roto I te āhuatanga waihanga, ngā tamariki I aki ki o rātou ake pūkenga toi.
All of them are interested in art. Having that influence or seeing their father take his art to where he's sort of taken it in actually such a short time has been, you know, quite a learning curve for them as well. To see where, well, possibly their art in school that they're doing now, that it could translate into, yeah, going down that line and making a living from it. So, yeah, it's all good.
He's always guided me into me really wanting to do art, because, like with the graffiti, I was sort of interested in graffiti, and then the next day he put up a board for me to muck around on, just around the back, so that was good. Him doing the artwork, it's always sort of, I suppose it's inspired me to really push art in myself, which was quite good.
A few years ago, it was blatantly obvious that Devon was really into his graffiti art and tagging, and I thought, oh, shucks. But we kept a very open sort of channel about it, and it was obvious he had a passion for it. And then I think it might have been my second or third exhibition up at Matakana Gallery, and him and I did our first piece together.
It was my first piece, so I was still trying to find out really what sort of artwork I'm going to start doing, and yeah, I think it was quite surprising when I sold it on the first night, yeah.
Mai I reira, ka mahi tahi tonu a Shane me ana tamariki.
It's sort of inspired me to sort of hop on board and do more stuff with what I do, what I like to do, and get it out there, not just sort of have it at home as a hobby or whatever.
He kai toi whakairo I roa kou. Kei roto I tēnei mahi te āhuatanga o mua o te Estuary Arts Centre. Ara, he KFC.
We did an exhibition, and it was encouraging youth, and Shane's son's a budding artist as well. So we just gave him a brief, you could do whatever you like, and he just came up with a concept to do a take on KFC.
When I see my kids' work, it makes me very proud, actually. They're, all three of them, they're actually naturally very gifted with their hands. But to see them sort of following my footsteps, you might say, is great. So yeah, I'm very proud of the kids. What do you reckon, guys? Because it's quite a small piece, keep it
Simple.
just simple and clean, yeah.
Black overlay?
Yeah, we'll do another black overlay over this, so we'll do that first. We'll sketch this out, and then Devon, you can
Do a bit of spray.
you can spray it.
Yeah,
What colour you reckon?
probably just white.
And then what we'll do is we'll scribe it out as well. If we mark it out and then scribe everything, and then you can do the eyes with the barbed wire last thing, and somehow incorporate that tape into the that fragile into the eye, and then go for it.
Sweet.
Okay, let's do it, man. When I created my first piece, yeah, it was quite a good feeling, actually. It had taken so long. You know, I'd thought about it for so long, and you guys hadn't seen it, and then I called you into the garage, and I think we had a glass of wine, actually, just for a bit of a laugh. Had a look at it, and yeah, these guys loved it. It was a black single panel, very much along the theme of what I'm still doing now. I knew from the start, I knew what my inspiration was going to be, so it was going to be Māori pakeha. It was going to be a mixture there, so.
I runga I te kōrero tohu nā tētahi atu tōhunga mahi toi, ka aroa Shane ki te taiwhanga whakaatu o Monterey, kia hokona atu ai ana mahi.
Generally speaking, as an artist, you need to go into a gallery, you need to have a bit of a portfolio and, you know, a bit of a history of your works and what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. Well, I didn't really have time for that, so I just bowled in there with just my piece and said, oh, would you be interested in having a look at a piece? And about a week later, I think it was, she rang me and said, oh, your piece is sold. Have you got any more? To which I said, yeah, of course I have, but of course I didn't have anything. So away I went and launched into it and never looked back from there, really.
He ahu rei tā te hātepe mahi a Shane. Kua maha ngā tau ia e whakatikahia ana.
So these are the bags of product that I use, which is just a powdery consistence of oxides, cement, silica sands, a few other secret ingredients. And I've got all my different colours there. I've got about, probably about 10 or so different base colours. And then from there, I also mix in and make my own colours, whatever I want to do. Write down all my recipes and so on. And then I whack them in my little mixer here. And depending on what, how I want the consistency, sometimes I'll have it a bit thicker or thinner, depending on what I'm doing and what sort of finish I want. So to get my canvas to where I can actually use it, I finish putting on my timber. I then give it a light sand around the edges, and then I'll do a glue coat over the whole thing. Then I'll trowel on a skim coat, my first skim coat. Let that dry, give it another glue, and then depending on what sort of type of finish I'm after, I'll do another coat, which could be my final coat, depending on how I want to finish it, and then away we go. When it's a finished product, it looks like it's solid stone, looks like it weighs half a tonne, you know, which is the effect I'm trying to give. I wouldn't say it's designed to crack, but that's what concrete does. So you have to do everything possible to make sure you don't get cracks, or if you do get cracks, you get them where you want them. So it's one of those things. It's just years of practice and plenty of mistakes, and finally after a while you seem to get a handle on things. The effect I'm trying to achieve is trying to get the real aged fossil look about it, which ties in with all my work, because most of my work is looking into the past. That's where the ferns sort of tie in, and obviously being a very New Zealand thing as well, you know. I had to do research on certain things, or, you know, Māori pakeha, and it's given me a whole new respect of things Māori, I can see the other side as well. I can see both sides, which is really interesting. All my pieces deal with our past, our history, good and bad, it's just what it is. A lot of my pieces deal with the land issues and the flogging of land, and you know, they're things that happened, you can't deny that, so let's get it out there and talk about it. You know, if you don't want to talk about them or they're, you know, you can't put that in a piece of art, then what's the point, you know? The heru comb represents Māori, and the spike represents the British, and this is dealing with land issues again. And from where Māori are coming from, if you're in the way, look out. Yeah, the barbed wire features quite a bit in my art. Like, for instance, the barbed wire around the tiki's eyes. It's that very real British influence that the Māori have slowly had to take on. And again, good or bad, but that's how it is, you know? So that's what the barbed wire, in that case around the eyes, means, you know, you're starting to see, having to see things through or a different way.
When I see Shane's art for the first time, I'll, you know, walk in from work and see his finished piece and I'm like, what is that? What have you done? What are you trying to say? You know, because I'm sort of looking at it going, there's a big fat peg through that heru. What the heck is that? Or the creation of the tiki eyes using beer cans, and my first glance at that was like, what the hell does that mean? So yeah, it is controversial, but once he explains his interpretation of that to me, I'm like, oh, okay, so that's the angle you're coming from.
To be fair, I haven't had anyone come up to me and say, mate, what the hell are you doing? You know, you can't do that, or
Yeah,
you can't say that.
No.
Generally speaking, it's been all very positive and.
But you would welcome those, you know, I'm sure you would welcome any
absolutely,
questions, yeah. And yeah, but no, there has been no sort of.
Oh, I get lots of questions. Like at my exhibitions, I get, you know, tons of questions about what's going on here or what's inspiration. But yeah, no, I've had no bad feedback. So since you last saw it, we've marked out the tiki face. We've scribed it. It's had 2 different colour washes, one being a darker black here and then a lighter colour wash out here. Cole's done the barbed wire around the eyes, and we've done the eyeballs, and the idea for that originally came from Hannah. She was cleaning her bedroom and she had a roll of fragile tape. But I said, yeah, mate, we'll take that. I do have a few career highlights, I think. One of the biggest things which gives you a really great feeling is actually when people buy your work and tell you what they, you know, how much they love your work. Like the boys at Team New Zealand, and these are people that, you know, most Kiwis really look up to and respect because of what they've achieved. I think that's probably the most rewarding part of the whole deal, actually.
Well, Shane invited me to his house to see. He didn't want to bring the artwork down here prior to that, so I drove up to Stanmore Bay, where he lives, and met him for the first time. And it was great because it was nice to be in his studio and his working environment and see what else he'd done, and it was also nice to meet him there. And you know, the first thing that struck me about Shane was we're a very New Zealand team, and I think Shane's very New Zealand in who he is and what sort of work he produces. So it was great. The artwork's called Waka Tere Tere, which means fast boat. Hopefully as a reference to our yachts that we raced in the America's Cup. Once you look at the artwork, you can see it's got a very, immediately you can tell the parallels between our race boats and his artwork, with his use of materials and the stainless steel wires and everything around the top. And as soon as I saw it, I thought it would be fantastic, and it was a fantastic piece of artwork to have hanging in our base, whether we're here or in Spain.
He ngā kaumāhaki o Shane rāua ko Donna, nā te kahatau toko o te iwi whānui.
I really was there for Shane in a tautoko sense. It wasn't about me. I felt it was more about him. I believe his work is fabulous. It should be seen, and he believed that I was good for him to be there with him. So I agreed, and it was a really nice exhibition. Well, I think Shane's work is very reflective of me as a Māori person, as a Māori woman. And I think he's got a great eye for art. And even though he's pakeha, I believe he captures the essence of Māori through his artwork and through his affiliations with his Māori whānau. I really enjoy looking at his tikis and his, the barbed wire around his works. And what, for me, what was so important was the fact that it was Māori art from him. You can see the Edmund Hillary behind me. That's probably my favourite piece. You'll see the moko on his face. It's quite beautiful, really. I actually like all his pieces. They've been hung in my home deliberately, and I think he's done really well with them.
I whakaritea a Shane i te Estuary Art Centre, ki te waihanga i tētahi mahi toi, hei koha atu ki te iwi o Ngati Porou ki Kaipara.
The main brief was that it should fit into the building and the surroundings. Like the colour of the building was designed to fit in with the water and by the sea and things. And so his brief was basically to fit into that context of the estuary and where freshwater meets seawater and represent all of that.
The naming of the piece was done by Matua Whero Nahi. He is Kaumatua from Pūtahi Marae and also one of our trustees. He had spoken about tidal waters and freshwater Waimaori and how they interrelate and things like that. And you always see the manawa, the mangrove. They are a life-giving plant. Some people may see them as a pest because it takes over the awa, but in actual fact they are there taking up the silt contaminations that are given to the awa from land use. Shane does artwork from his own settings as well, his own backgrounds, and he blends it with taha Māori. And there is the implementation and the richness of what had occurred when our ancestors signed both the treaties in both languages.
I think, now looking at Shane's artwork, that he's always had this vision to grab these really New Zealand taonga and bring it together, but actually turn it into contemporary art. A lot of his work has shells in it and then the fern imprints, and you're sort of thinking, is this going to be sort of touristy, Kiwiana type style? And when we saw the end product, it was like, wow, this is really cool. And now we sort of see, what you've got in here and what you've sort of jotted down. Yeah, so we were like, wow, okay.
There are people that would probably come to my exhibitions and find out that I'm pakeha, and probably rightly so, I think, initially think, oh, you know, what's this guy about? But once you learn about where I'm from, where my inspiration is from, you know, you start understanding what the art's about. Yep, like it. Yeah, like it. Like I say, I'll give it a bit of a colour wash later just to highlight it maybe a little bit more, and I think we're done.
He mea tautoko nā te māngai.
You're performing all around the country.
They've got the skill.
You've got